Welcome back, Frankies. Today on Frankie Files, I'm going back in time to visit my mom. I will be going undercover with a fake name. For those of you who do not know and are new to the channel, my name is Mary Haley, and I was born on August 30th, 1797 in Somerset, London. My mom was a feminist writer named Mary Wollstonecraft, and my father was a philosopher named William Godwin. Unfortunately, I didn't receive proper schooling. However, I grew up surrounded by many writers and philosophers, and I published my first short story at the age of 11 named The Discoveries of John Bull in a Trip to Paris. During my visit at Villa Diodati in Switzerland, Lord Byron, a poet, challenged me and all the other guests to write a ghost story which brought out the idea of my novel Frankenstein. I was also greatly inspired by a German story named Phantasmagoriana. However, when I first published Frankenstein 7 years ago, I did so anonymously. 2 years ago, on my 25th birthday, I released it with my name. Now I have dedicated myself to creating content for you guys. Anyway, it's time to go back to the 1700s.
12 seconds later.
Look, there she is.
Wow, I actually hate that book. It's awful. No, it's not. I'm actually kind of quite insane. Jo is insufferable. How you've read that much is amazing to me. I actually think she's very admirable. No, she's not. She should have just married the first man. She becomes a housewife anyway. The book is so pointless. What? Do you just hate all women, John?
Frankies, I can't believe it. It looks like my mom is actually in a heated argument with Rousseau. For those of you who don't know, he's another Enlightenment thinker, and my mom and him have some very different views. Sound like they're arguing about a book called Little Women. Let's interrupt it before it gets too heated.
Actually, you're just wrong. Like, stop saying that stuff. Like, actually, like, what the heck? You're like, oh.
2,000 years later.
You can't, like, you're just like, no.
1 eternity later.
Hello, Mrs. Wollstonecraft.
Hello.
And Mr. Rousseau.
Hi.
My name is Mary Smith, and I'm a journalist from Somerset, England. Would it be possible to interview you guys?
Hello, no way, I have a home there with my husband. Of course, I would be happy to. I love when I get a chance to advocate and share what I believe in.
Mr. Rousseau, may I?
Sure, but let's make it quick.
Okay, could you start by both introducing yourselves?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm Jean-Jacques Rousseau. I was born in Geneva in 1712 to Isaac Rousseau, a watchmaker, and Suzanne Bernard. My mother died just 9 days after I was born, so my father raised me on his own until I was 10. He was always talking about ancient republics and how citizens should be free and equal. After he fled, I was put into foster care, which I hated, so I ran away when I was 16. Anyway, that's enough of my background. I think people have got it figured out all wrong. Everyone talks about progress and money, but I believe that we develop as a society, the more we develop as a society with all the rules and competition, it corrupts us. That's why I wrote a new type of social contract, one where power comes from the people and the laws reflect the general will. I also wrote Emily, a treatise framed as a novel. It's about the ideal education to nurture goodness and produce self-sufficient moral individuals. But when I published it, it was so controversial it got banned. Anyway, let's hear what this lovely lady has to say.
Jean Jacques, that was quite rude of you to cut me off. Moving on, thank you for having me on the show, Miss Smith. For the individuals who don't know me, my name is Mary Wollstonecraft, and I'm most known for my work as a pioneer of modern feminism. I'm an English writer and philosopher born in 1759. I devoted most of my life to independence and justice. I was raised in an unstable household, so from an early age, I learned the dangers of dependence. I was young when I gained the interest in education, but the majority of my own I taught myself. I worked as a teacher and even opened a school with my closest friend before moving to London to pursue writing. In my work, specifically a vindication of the rights of women, I argue that women are not naturally inferior to men, and made so by the lack of access to basic necessities like education and overall opportunities. I believe women are rational beings just like men and should be educated to think, act, and live independently. This is the only way as a society we can progress.
Thank you for introducing yourselves. I'll start off by asking you this. What flaws do you think the Enlightenment period had on society? Why doesn't society honor all people?
I'll begin. The Enlightenment claims to celebrate reason, progress, and freedom, but in reality, it often forgets the human sentiments. They say that the science industry and rational systems will improve the world, yet they ignore how these systems create inequality and competition.
I agree with Mr. Rousseau on that point, but the flaws go even further. You speak endlessly about the rights of man, yet you forget half the community. Women are excluded from education, politics, and independence. How can you claim to honor humanity and deny women the opportunity to develop their agency?
The thing is, women are naturally inferior to men. They should be educated differently. Women are educated. Boys' education should nurture their natural goodness by allowing children to learn at their own pace. Girls should be educated to be supportive wives and nurturing mothers, like their place in society. Like I always say, woman is made for man's delight.
Women should be taught that independence and education are basic necessities to live virtuous and fulfilling lives. Men like you that over and over again disinclude women from the new Enlightenment ideas, blaming on religion and traditions are stupid. That's why I wrote the Vindication of the Rights of Women is a response to your clueless ideas. There is nothing naturally inferior about women. We are all born the same abilities, brain, ideas. I wish to persuade women to endeavor to acquire strength both of mind and body, and to convince them that the soft phrases susceptibility of heart, delicacy, and sentiment, and refinement of taste are almost synonymous with epithets of weakness.
Wow, what a great sentiment about women's rights. So if you could change one thing about enlightenment, what would it be?
The problem is that society builds systems that look reasonable, but often damage the natural goodness of people. To be an ideal society, it needs to be guided by the general will, meaning the collective interest of the people as a whole, rather than the desires of the powerful.
You say that all men are good, but must be guided by a general will, meaning that they accept people for who they are no matter what. In my famous novel, Frankenstein, a creature who was made to prove that men can be created without a woman learned how to read, write, and speak. With the skills he developed, he was attacked and often judged and was scared of him. In the creature's perspective, he says, "But I had hardly placed my foot within the door before the children shrieked and one of the women fainted. The whole village was roused, some fled, some attacked me until previously bruised by stones and many other kinds of missile weapons. I escaped to the open country and fearfully took refuge in the little hovel. There are people who willingly choose to act badly. You also say that education nurtures the mind. The victor, the creator of the monster, abandons his monster and doesn't take responsibility for his own actions."
Yeah, I agree with Mrs. Smith. You are just wrong.
Ugh, women are so annoying. They never listen to reason.
Men are so dramatic.
Yeah, I know. We've been going at this topic forever.
Oh, and I didn't want to say this in front of him, but you're my mom.
OMG, I'm so proud of the woman you became. Woman rule.
That's it for today, Frankie. Just make sure to like and subscribe. See you soon.